Welcome to Redville Rhino, second attempt.
We are the arbiters of this society.
Repeat after me. As a good citizen, we must maintain a neutral carbon footprint. Repeat. Repeat after me. We must eat the bugs. Repeat. Repeat after me. We must eat the bugs. Repeat.
This is a world that we create and manage. The people, they need to be controlled. We will give them truths, but only our truths. They are not to seek information anywhere else.
It is my job to keep order. So what you saw didn't happen. Erase everything.
You a grunt? I used to be one, and I was good at it.
I know. Things were simpler then. I have some questions.
You need to understand, we're being hunted.
By who?
Bring him to me.
This breaks the world.
Your story isn't over yet. There's still a page left.
All right, welcome. Man, for you guys that went through our technical difficulty and are still here, thank you so much. We were just on Streamlabs. Everything was going well. The setup was perfect. And then we went live, and you guys saw what happened there. Didn't invite Polska, and I'm pretty sure that's why it happened. At least that's what Polska tells me, so that's all I can assume. But yeah, it crashed. It kicked us out. So here we are, well, 30 minutes later, and we are back and ready to go. I had all sorts of fancy screens and stuff, but that doesn't matter. We got the intro, and we've got some special guests, some very special guests. First, I want to introduce to you Jimmy Bonez. Jimmy, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good, Rhino. How are you yourself?
Man, other than shit in the bed on the Streamlabs.
Streamlabs and Amber Heard. They have they have one thing in common. Guess what it is?
Exactly. Also, we have Crusader Nate in the house tonight. Crusader, how are you doing?
Oh, you know me, just sitting back and enjoying the show.
Yeah. You got to see an interesting show already. The pregame show was lit. Oh, yeah. All right, and then finally, our guest of honor this evening is Blake, the toxic male. He is here with us tonight. How are you doing, Blake?
Honor. I don't know about that, man.
Man, yeah, you are. Come on.
You gotta rethink your honorary system if I'm your guest of honor.
It's all fucked up.
Salute to the captain of the SS
on a wedding dress. Look at today. The SS drinking straw is getting ready to leave the station.
There you go. All right, guys. So tonight we are going to have a chat about Halloween flicks in general. Yeah, I'm off to a late start and I'm all combobbled. You guys, I'm going to let you take the floor for a minute. Let's get the ball rolling.
All right. Well, what do you watch every year around this time?
Well,
I mean,
for me,
it's the holiday, so I mean, we got to watch Halloween.
Oh, absolutely
yeah,
right. That goes without saying.
I've usually liked to watch the Hannibal series. That's been my thing. I like the psychological thriller of the whole thing.
You're talking about the TV series, not the movies, right?
No, I'm talking about the movies.
Oh, yeah, the movies. Okay.
Silence of the Lambs and all that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Silence of the Lambs, Red Dragon. I'll go with those two. The Hannibal movie.
Oh, you didn't like that?
Oh man, it sucks ass from a straw. I gave it multiple chances, and then after I saw the TV series, and it takes a big chunk of the Hannibal movie and does it so much better, and in many ways, arguably even more graphic than the film.
Yeah,
that's a golf clap right there.
I did not watch the whole thing. I need to go back and rewatch that. Apparently.
Oh yeah. Fantastic. It's only 3 seasons, and I think if you got Amazon Prime, it's free on there. So
yeah,
give it a shot.
Right on. We will do that.
Some of the shit they got away with on network TV.
It was on Netflix at one point, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And Crusader, what do you usually watch on Halloween?
Oh, I go for some of the old school stuff, the old late 70s, early 80s, the old B movies like Jekyll and Hyde, or I'll go for like some of the old classics like Phantasm, the old Hellraiser stuff. I got a buddy that used to work at a drive-in movie theater, and he has the old reel-to-reel projector and has 4 different Faces of Death.
Like God. Oh, now you're diving back into the video nasties.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any worse than those. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those or heard of them.
I don't know, man. There's some pretty bad ones out there.
Yeah, the old Faces of Death, they used to show them at a drive-in movie theater here on Halloween. They actually show where people have been executed in electric chairs.
Wow.
They've shown lethal injections go wrong. They've shown where they actually slaughter animals when they kill them in the butcher places. Like it's pretty brutal.
Yeah, snuff film for sure.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah,
it's dark. Those closest I got to an actual snuff film is probably Cannibal Holocaust, which I did see in the theater, and that is one of the most uncomfortable and yet sort of invigorating audience experiences you could ever have, because I mean I don't know how many animals were killed on screen. A muskrat, um, a boar, turtle. The turtle was the grossest.
Yeah.
And apparently, and I thought that Deodato, the director, was just a sick fuck. Like, okay, he just really likes to torture animals or some shit. But evidently, there was a marketing decision behind that at the time. And that's why a lot of films in like the late 70s actually were doing this, because it was big in East Asia. For some reason, to watch real animal killings in films.
Yeah, there's one, I can't remember the name of it. Blake, you might know. It takes place somewhere in Southeast Asia, where they bring a cow in, and there's like 5 guys lined up with big, almost like modified machetes, where they literally just go right through and they take it at the base of the skull, the base of the neck, and it literally show everything, and they actually, like 5-6 guys just slaughter it right there.
Crusader, you are an evil bastard for sure.
I have not seen that one. Count me good on that one.
I watched your stream with Chris Mitchell, by the way. So the whole going back to your 20s thing, I know what you're about now, man.
Dude, I've seen when I say there's very few things that you can show me that would make me sick or turn my stomach. Yeah. But yeah, I've seen some of those the old ones in the old, like the late 70s, early 80s B horror movies. They're hilarious to watch now.
Yeah. Yeah. So last year, that was my thing. I watched all the Puppet Master movies, all of them. And some of them are fucking awful to watch, but there are some good ones. Actually, The Littlest Reich, they changed the way Blade looked. They changed, what was it? Torch, I think. They changed some of the characters' looks, but they were still pretty cool. The movie was good, and you're going in expecting a B movie. By the way, that brings this up. Blake, do you know about Dr. Death coming out?
Dr. Death. That's a negative.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll get a copyright strike, probably, but I'm almost willing to show you the trailer of it here live because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they screwed me when I was trying to just put the Halloween Kills trailer on muted in the background for stream one, so I wouldn't advise it, at least not now.
I've done
I
some
haven't heard that.
I've gotten away with some stuff. Well, if I go back on probation, that's fine. It's only 3 strikes in 90 days. I can take a second.
Yeah, but the second one, you're off for a month.
No shit. Well, this would be a copyright claim, which they usually let you use. They just don't monetize. I'm not monetized anyway. So
it's the one that I'm looking forward to though is Violent Night. Have you guys seen the trailer for that coming out in December?
Yes, I have.
David Harbour plays Santa. Oh, I'm there all day long.
John Leguizamo was the head bad guy. Yeah, I saw that one because I was like, I'm just sitting here watching YouTube, and all of a sudden I see, oh yes, I've been doing Santa for 4 years now. I'm like, great, we're already starting with the Christmas crap. This was like 2 weeks ago. All right, fine. And then it was like, oh, Santa's a badass in this one. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Stuffs the grenade down the dude's pants. He's like, I gotta watch this. Turns around.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Sold.
Yep.
I'll go.
Falls
see that
right
one.
in line with what I've been saying. If you're going to go to the theater to see a movie, only go to see Paramount and Universal releases. That's it.
Yeah.
It's Disney.
Dude, I'm to the point. Look, I'm a big Star Wars nerd, and I know you know that. I build the props. Back in the background, there's actually a TIE pilot helmet back there. I've built customer props. I can't. Okay, I watched Boba Fett, Book of Boba Fett, and this isn't horror, but just as a side tangent, it was hard to watch. And I'm starting to get the same feeling from every one of their films. Let's go babysit same thing with Obi-Wan. Tried that. Let's go babysit someone for 2 or 3 seasons. And with The Mandalorian, I liked it. I'll give it that. I did like it. I enjoyed it, the nostalgia of it. But Andor, I've watched the first 3 episodes. I don't remember anything about them, and I don't care to go back and watch the rest. I just have no motivation.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I was all for Mandalorian. The rest of it, throw it away.
Yeah. Yeah, which is sad, but if they want to tank a franchise, that's I guess on them. But the fans are walking away; they're done with it.
Yeah. And that's really the point where it's at. But they can't even blame the toxic fandom for Andor's numbers because no one even cares enough to talk shit about it.
No, nobody's saying anything.
They're done.
Yeah.
We're all over here, like we're sitting back with the popcorn and watching the memes from Halloween Ends come out.
Right.
Like you fuckers are falling into the same trap you did 40 years ago, and you don't even know it. It's awesome.
And I haven't seen any of the memes yet, and I'm basically a meme lord. I'm gonna have to do some deep diving into those.
So on that note, I want to get back to that, but first, Jimmy, your favorite. You said you watch Halloween, obviously on Halloween, but what is your favorite horror film of like all time? And it doesn't have to be classic horror Halloween stuff. It can be anything horror.
Jeez, that's a tough one. Because geez, it's been a while since I've seen.
What's one that actually
movies.
scared you? If you can't narrow it down, what's something that actually scared you? That's probably a shorter list.
Jeepers Creepers 2.
Well, it's made by a pedophile, so I could see why that would scare you.
That would scare me. Yeah, yeah, that'll do it.
I mean I'd have to say Jeepers Creepers
and.
Geez, there's too many of them, really. But I mean, Halloween. That was one of the first horror movies I actually remember watching. I remember seeing first one. I was at my grandma's house.
Obviously, I'm a fan.
Obviously.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I got my autographs up here. Danielle Harris signed my copy of Part 4. I got Nancy Loomis and PJ Souls signed my copy of the original. And then that's just Army of Darkness Director's Cut. Bruce Campbell signed that one.
That's awesome.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, Bruce is awesome. I've met him a few times. He's a sarcastic son of a bitch. And so I guess he kind of prepared me for meeting Pop.
Yeah.
There you go. So, Blake, I have a question for you on this one. You were talking about the fans falling for the same trap. If you can do that without giving any spoilers away, some of us haven't seen it.
I'm going to do
fairly new. Yeah, but without explaining any spoilers, yeah. What trap are they falling for?
I saw the trap coming in the opening credits because I'm a monumental dork. I've literally watched every single one of these movies multiple times. I've already seen Halloween Ends twice, and I've reviewed every single movie in the series for spoilerfreemoviesleuth.com. So I know these movies backwards and forwards. I know more about what happens behind the scenes than probably people who worked on it.
Oh, shit.
So when I started watching the sequel trilogy that began in 2018, and then after Kills especially, I was like, okay, I kind of see what they're doing. Because, Halloween 1 has a very focused central narrative on a very small group of characters. 2018, very much like that, to the point where it had a lot of visual cues that were directly lifted from the original, just with roles reversed.
Yeah.
Like Michael's in the foreground of the shot in 2018, and then, the light adjusts and it's Laurie standing behind him, just like in the original. And then in Kills, she's sidelined in the hospital while we ramp up the gore, just like in Halloween 2.
Yeah.
So I go to see Halloween Ends, and the opening sequence only has one mention of Michael Myers.
Interesting.
But even before that, instead of the typical glowing orange font for the opening credits, it's the blue font from Halloween 3. What's everyone's auto critique of Halloween 3? There was no Michael Myers.
There's no Michael. Yeah. That one was, I just watched that the other day. So here's the thing. I'm going to let you in on a guilty admission here. I have not watched a lot of the cult classic horror films. Now, I've watched horror films here and there. I've watched Freddy Krueger. I've watched, some of the Jason stuff here and there, but I've never committed to watching all of them all the way through. So the last couple of years, all 13 Puppet Masters, even if some of them were
13 of those things.
Yeah, there are 13 of them. Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries.
Sorry.
Do you not like Puppet Master?
No, like it's like anything else. The first few are usually a lot of fun, but then it starts going off into, sooner or later you get to Puppet Master in space.
Wait. Puppet Master versus demonic toys. If you really want to have a weird ride.
Oh,
And then there
another
was
good
one.
for it. Leprechaun into Hood. There you go. You
Leprechaun
enjoy
in
that
the
one.
Hood, huh? I'll have to check that out. There's
Snoop Dogg in that one or Ice-T? It was one of the two.
There was
man.
one of these Puppet Master Full Moon spinoffs where they had like midget people. I wish I remembered. If somebody in the chat knows what I'm talking about, it was like where it was a cop, but he was all shrunk down in size, and there was this chick basically nude on the counter of a kitchen, sunbathing or some stuff, and then the demonic toys got involved. It was just like, what the hell am I watching?
I don't know.
All right, that was some interesting stuff. Full Moon does some interesting films.
Do.
So here's my next question for you guys. Jimmy, I'll start with you, and then I do want to roll this copyright, whatever. Screw it if I get the claim.
Susan be damned.
Yes, absolutely. But Jimmy, what is the one film, and let's stick to horror, that actually kind of scarred you, fucked you up? It actually messed with your head a little bit, like scared you, genuinely.
Oh,
Mine's
shit.
embarrassing.
And it can be from childhood as well.
What's your favorite scary movie?
There's a
What's
voice
your
modulator.
favorite scary movie? Please spank it, spank the bra, snap the bra, just spank it, just pull back on the G string, snap it down.
That's everybody's
right.
favorite horror film.
Jeez,
I think that was on OrnPay Hub.
OrnPay Hub, yeah. Never leave an OrnPay tab open while you're researching body positivity. You'll just get confused. Not that I would know or anything.
Allegedly.
I know.
Oh, God damn it.
Questions.
I can't think and laugh at the same time, you asshole. Scary movie that haunted me or scarred me.
Showgirls?
Oh, God. That haunted all of us. One, Kyle MacLachlan's ass. Two, the seizure-inducing sex scene that followed.
Oh,
and Elizabeth Berkley is the woman who woke up my penis when I was a kid. So I like,
well, now I'm scarred.
On, I was like, yeah. And then she gets in the pool with the dude and she starts having a seizure and all over his dick. And I'm like, I'm sure I'm supposed to be aroused by this, but somehow, even though I'm only 13, I just can't do it.
Right.
I'm gonna go lay down.
All right, let's see. Wow. Jimmy, what was your...
What do you got, Jimmy? Come on. You got to have something.
I'm still trying to think here, but I mean, Halloween, yeah, it had its the jump scares, and it wasn't really all that scary to a certain level. But, geez, for me... God, I'm still trying to think of one that scarred me. I'd have to say Child's Play or Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, I hate to go back to the. I mean, they're good movies, good flicks.
Yeah,
the original ones, not the one with Mark Hamill as Chucky, even though he did a good job.
I dug that one. It was a different enough take on it to where I could see it standing alone.
Yeah, but I mean, I have a hard time separating the actor and the character that he's playing to the person that they are.
That's why I don't go on Twitter.
Twitter is a shit show. I think I'm just under my next 36 hours and I can post there again. Second time.
We're all getting banned on platforms lately.
Second time in Twitter jail for 7 days for speaking the truth. Or something that one person didn't like, and it hurt the feet.
Well, you guys might not have known this. You guys might not have known this, but I was banned on Facebook for 9 months because I wouldn't shut up about the coof.
Well, neither would they. You just told the truth.
Yeah, right. I just didn't like my version.
Yep. It's not CDC approved.
No. Yeah, and now it's all changed. But whatever. Moving on. Crusader, what is the one movie that stuck with you, kind of horrified you, genuinely? And not a snuff film.
I've seen those. I would have to say one that probably twisted my mind back in the day. You guys ever see the movie People Under the Stairs?
Yes.
No.
All right.
Yeah, it's a Wes
Blake,
Craven classic.
No, I haven't.
Imagine being a young teenager living in a suburban area where a family in your neighborhood they adopted kids and they just built a house and moved in right after you saw that. That one kind of wrecked my brain for probably a year or two. Like I wouldn't even go anywhere near that house.
Yeah, I mean, who cares if it's 3 extra blocks? I mean, you could use the steps.
Right.
But yeah, that's probably the one that stuck with me the longest. There've been a couple of other ones. I can't remember the name of it. There's a young couple that stay at a cabin out in the middle of nowhere, and a bunch of young punks basically pin them in the cabin and kind of break in and kill them.
Is that the Strangers?
That might be.
It sounds familiar.
I was gonna say,
I remember
that one sounds familiar.
That's one that I remember watching it like I didn't know what to expect, because most horror movies I can literally call it 2 minutes before it happens.
Yeah.
But that was one that just stuck with me for a month or two. But
right on, man. I'm going to address the chat here really quick. I usually don't feed the trolls, but I will. This guy looks like a troll. Hey, yo, what the fuck is in the chat here? What does he have to say? Bro, let me join the call, y'all red pill. You didn't understand the assignment. He says later on here, he says, red pill just complain about woman. Don't follow this red pill nonsense. Okay, cool, man. And then, all right, I'm out. Cool. Well, I'm glad you left.
I made sure the door hit him where the good Lord split him too. So I don't think we'll be seeing any more of his comments, because I saw those comments and I was like,
smells like soy. Smells like soy.
Exactly. Billy Von Baum earlier in the chat said, how about the Winnie the Pooh horror movie? Well, I missed that one apparently.
Yeah, I actually forgot that was a thing.
I didn't even know that was a thing. If that is a thing, send me a link there, because send me a message in email.
There needs to be a Waldo horror film where the reason why everybody's looking for him is because he's some sort of deranged killer.
Serial killer, yeah.
That sweater used to be white until he started taking the blood of his victims and making stripes on it. And then when he ran out of room, he had the hat and then the scarf.
Right.
Right.
And sometimes we see Waldo on Sunday nights.
And Blake, I'm going to get to your scarred and destroyed you, but I'm just going through the chats here really quick, seeing if I missed anything of importance. This one was actually interesting. What did you think of the new Hellraiser on Hulu? Did anybody watch that?
I haven't watched it yet.
I have not watched it.
I have not either. So
I know it's
apparently
a chick, but it doesn't really bother me because
it's a chick
in the
now.
original work, it was supposed to be kind of an androgynous figure, kind of like how Gibson depicted Satan in Passion of the Christ. So it didn't bother me when they announced it was a chick.
Yeah. Bronco Girl says here, the original Exorcist will always be my kryptonite, and I can agree with that. When I was a kid, I watched it. It wasn't the one that fucked me up, but seeing that face, so it was just when DVDs became a thing, and so you could pause it, and I saw that flicker on the screen. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm watching it in the dark as a kid, so that was probably a bad idea, but I paused it, and you see that death mask, and I'm like, oh, shit. That fucked with me that they snuck it in.
The subliminal edits that Friedkin did in there, those were game-changing for the genre as a whole.
Hell yeah. And then, let's see. I'm not going to read every chat. I'm just seeing if I missed any important ones. I saw one, Slick South. Where was it? 1990. It scared the hell out of me as a kid, and I don't remember 1990.
It's a movie called 1990?
I guess so.
That was the year I was born, so I mean, yeah, that's pretty scary.
That would scare the hell out of me. All right, Blake, what is
all about?
Yeah, it's about Jimmy being born. It's the whole imagery. We don't need to.
Bottle of bird dog fell out first.
1990, aka the Walt
He
Disney
literally
story.
did, yeah. He was born, his mom just took the nipple off the baby bottle, put it right on a bottle of Peach Bird Dog, and like, here you go.
There it is.
We got teething and nutrition all in one package.
He says it. Okay, 1990 it.
Oh, yeah.
Commas are important.
A lot of people got fucked up by that one. A lot of people,
Yeah, that one was kind of fucked up.
Yeah, because I mean, the year that I graduated, 2001, like everybody would have been 7 when that came out. So
Yeah.
I remember, that was a question going around in like the school newspapers at the time, and a lot of people answered it as being the one that really fucked them up because they would have been about the right age to be old enough to sit up and watch it on TV.
Yeah. All right, Blake, what is the one movie for you?
There's a couple. I mean, Halloween I watched when I was 6 for the first time because my mom was insane and thought because there was no gore, it must have been rated G. Naturally. And never mind the tits and the stabbing and the language, all that other stuff. But I don't know what it is. When found footage is done right, it kind of circumvents your defenses, because it doesn't feel like a movie. So I'll freely admit, when Blair Witch first came out, that one kind of fucked with me.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah.
The original Paranormal Activity, I lost some sleep over that one.
Yeah.
But the one that really got me, because I was high the first time I watched it,
Bad
was
move.
the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
No shit.
Do not watch that movie high if you haven't.
I need to do that now.
Woo! Because that movie will start to happen to you, and it's yeah.
I'm adding that to my bucket list right now.
Yeah, get high and watch. Actually, any of them, any of the Nightmare on Elm Streets, just have an edible and enjoy.
In the words of wise men, challenge accepted.
Yes.
My buddy, when we were in high school, he decided it was a brilliant idea. I was the supervisor, so to speak, making sure he was safe. But he decided to do shrooms and watch House of a Thousand Corpses in the basement.
That might be the only thing to make that movie tolerable.
No, but he was like seeing the walls melting and everything. Like, okay, all right. Yeah.
I mean, my friend Ryan is fond of saying that movie is a headache and an eyesore. I would agree. I still don't know how Rob Zombie made The Devil's Rejects, because The Devil's Rejects is a fucking masterpiece. How that came right after House of a Thousand Corpses?
Which brings this topic up. The Munsters. Why the fuck was he allowed to touch that?
I don't know.
Did you see it?
I haven't watched it. I can't bring myself to do it. After
Get really drunk first.
I checked out. Lords of Salem was my last Rob Zombie film, and I'm like, okay, I kind of see where he's going, and I don't like it, so I'm checking out. And then when I found out that he brought back 3 from Hell, I was like, oh, there's no explanation after the end of The Devil's Rejects. They just survived.
Yeah.
What are they, Supermen? I mean, Sid Haig looked deathly as shit in the trailers. I'm good. I'm done.
Yeah. Polska Bob wanted to add his favorite horror film that fucked him up was walking to 7-Eleven for booze at 10 p.m. in Chicago.
I think he wins.
That's what I was saying about found footage.
I think he wins that one.
He was going to get a Subway, and then 2 guys wearing MAGA hats came out.
Shit.
Even though it was 12 degrees, there was not a noose in sight.
Yeah. Yeah, that story. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. So for me, believe it or not, and you guys might think I'm a wuss for this, but it was The Ring. And
I don't blame you for that one.
The reason for it, I was still in school. It was the imagery, the flickering stuff on the screen with all the weird upside down chair, the fingernails being ripped out, all that. I'm like, there's something not right about this film, man. It spooked the shit out of me.
Would you ever think in a million years that you're talking about the American remake?
Yeah.
Right. Would you ever think that one of that director's next films would be the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy?
You're kidding.
I shit you not.
That's the same director?
Yeah. And he also made one that I haven't watched yet, but I hear it's really awesome and fucked up. It's called The Cure for Wellness.
Huh.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
That one's on my list. I still got to watch that one. But yeah, the Ring definitely got me too. If you haven't seen the original Japanese version, absolutely watch it.
All right.
But don't watch it when you're about to go to bed. I made a mistake once. I put on Ringu 2, the Japanese sequel.
Okay.
And it was at that point in time, I was still living at my parents' house, and I had an iMac that was literally sitting on a chair just at the end of my bed. So I would just be like, watch it, whatever. I fell
Right.
asleep. And then something shook me awake like 20 minutes later, and the only image that I saw was Sadako coming horizontal out of the TV and then looking directly into the camera, and I'm like, "Oh, motherfucker!"
No.
Turn this off.
No.
I was like, Dark Calvin and Spaceballs. Go past this part. In fact, don't play this again.
So, on that note, the most realistic, roughest one for me to watch, I don't know if they even considered horror. I guess it is, but it was like Last House on the Left. I went and saw that in theaters. Dude, that was a fucking hard watch. That was a really hard watch.
That's the remake, right?
Yeah.
Because the original has the cops.
Right.
If you haven't seen it, you don't know. But if you've seen it, you know. And one of the cops in the original is Martin Kove, who plays Kreese in the Karate Kid movies and Cobra Kai.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to talk about a movie that has no sense of tone. The music and the cops do not match any of the raping and pillaging.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you were watching a movie where these girls are getting raped and murdered, and one of them crawls back to her parents' house, whatever, and they find her, and then these parents turn into bloodthirsty sociopaths trying to go after these guys, and the music is bing, 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 bing.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Woo!
Yeah.
Written by the head rapist himself.
That remake though was that was me and my buddy. This was again like high school. We went to watch it, and it was one of those where we're both looking at each other like, are we gonna just sit through this or what? Because it was really fucked up in parts. And if you guys haven't seen it, once you watch it, you'll understand there's some scenes in here that they're pretty graphic. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
And
time.
another one. Now that you said those, I'll change my answer to the two movies that fuck me up when I watch them. The Hills Have Eyes and The Hills Have Eyes the Hills Have Eyes too. I mean the first one wasn't as bad, but the beginning of the second one, I looked over at my buddy. I'm like, "We're seriously gonna watch this, man?" That
okay, no,
just
Papa's been calling you Shaggy for 2 years, and now you actually sounded like Shaggy there for a second.
Yeah, I got that. We're gonna watch this, man. Yoinks.
We're gonna watch this, man. Yeah, I looked over him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna watch this." I was like,
"Would you do it for a Scooby snack?"
I was gonna say, man, you better roll up like a really strong joint, because that's about the only way I'm gonna get through this. Because I almost got up and I almost got up and walked out the door.
Yeah,
because we watched them. We watched them consecutively, and I was like, "Man, this movie's really fucked up." He's like, "Oh yeah, there's
take
a breather. Here it is.
Take a breather between those two."
And I was like,
"Yeah."
Like I was seriously cowering in the corner, like trying to hide in the couch from that intro. And I looked over him. He's like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "Oh no, no!"
So don't do that one high. That's a given.
Oh no. That one. I mean, bringing back some mental images that I'm gonna have to drink away now. God damn it!
You want to talk about a great intro to a horror film, though?
Sure.
Dawn of the Dead, 2004. The first 11 minutes of that movie are just amazing. Zack Snyder still hasn't made a better movie than Dawn of the Dead.
I feel like I'm missing a lot of movies in my life, man.
Yeah, it's some of the most intense, scary, energetic filmmaking. And at that point in time, no one knew who the hell this guy was.
Huh.
It's it's not as good as the original, because there's no way that it can top those first 7 to 10 minutes.
Right.
So it tapers off after that, but it's still got a great cast. Ving Rhames is in it. So if you haven't watched that one, check that one out for sure.
Hell yeah. All right, I'm going to go through the chat here really quick. Let's see. Jackal Hunter. I can only think of the original Grudge or Conjuring. Okay, The Conjuring. Yeah.
Conjuring. Yep.
For sure.
That's another one.
And I'm just breezing through the chat tonight, guys. I'm going to keep this as a shorter stream because you know where our streams can go. And Blake, he's already on here late, so I don't want to keep him up
about
all
a quarter
night.
after 11 here.
Yeah, so we're not going to go on all night like we normally do. I got Polska Bob in here. Polska Bob in here says The Evil Dead.
Yes.
Let's see, MGTOW Forever, Jeepers Creepers 2, when you're tripping on cough syrup at 12 midnight in the dark by yourself. That'll do it. Oh, yeah, that'll definitely do it. Blake, he ran away. It scared me.
I'll be right back.
All right, let's see. Polska Bob, classic.
Polska Bob likes
Texas
Evil
Chainsaw
Dead,
Massacre.
Huh?
Oh,
Polska
shit.
Bob likes Evil Dead. Yeah, there you go. Got my Necronomicon
That's
there
cool.
for you.
Nice.
Hell, yeah.
That's awesome.
It stopped stinking finally. When I first got this out of the box, I was like,
Finally.
what the hell?
Got
This
the
must
dead,
be what
dead
evil
flesh
smells
smell.
like. But 20 years later, finally smells just like a house.
All right, we got Slick South. He says The Descent.
Oh,
Marty,
yes. Awesome movie.
Yeah.
That's
Marty
the,
Bernard is The
Spelunky
Thing.
one?
The Thing, John Carpenter's. Yeah.
The Thing, yes, that one.
Speaking of which, when you were mentioning, we were talking earlier about Halloween Ends. It's another point of that movie, that the opening scene, so I'm not really giving anything away. Babysitter and a little kid are watching John Carpenter's The Thing on TV, and I'm like, yeah, this is the Halloween 3 of the new sequel trilogy. Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yep. Well, I mean, I haven't seen Kills or Ends, but the first one, like you said, it gave all the fan service, but it kind of flipped some things around, which I appreciated. I really liked. And be like, oh, hey, that's that one scene from the first one. I'm like, oh, that one. And then about the fourth or fifth time, I was like, okay, they can stop recreating
they can
the
stop
scenes.
doing that.
They can
Right.
Stop. I had my three. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Stop now.
All right, I'm going to burn through the rest of these chats really quick, and then we'll move on. Slick South says Alien. That, of course, is a classic, and it's a slow film, but it's actually the slowness of it that fucks with you, because you don't know when that thing's going to jump out and do something.
That's why
that
I
was
still
good.
prefer the theatrical cut, because the theatrical cut's longer than the director's cut, which is usually not how that works. But it's that build up, that atmosphere and slowness. It was perfect the first time.
Hell yeah. All right, Andrew Kotwicki. I'm going to butcher the name.
buddy.
Sorry, man. Is it? Right on.
Yeah, it's my best buddy.
How did I do on the name? Kotwicki? Is that right?
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty
All right, cool. He says Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me.
Yes.
I don't know about that at all.
That movie will get under your skin, and oh yeah.
I'm gonna rewatch this stream just to know what to watch.
And one of the
I'm gonna
best,
have to take some notes.
and I would say that is one of the best performances ever by an actress. Cheryl Lee in that movie.
All right, that's definitely going on my list then.
I think she had to get some care after the film because she gave it everything she had, to the point where
psychological.
it basically wrecked her health for a while.
Wow.
Psychologically and physically.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
No, she's one of the great unsung actresses, man. Like, people know who she is. If they don't know her by name, they've seen her and stuff. Like, she was in John Carpenter's Vampire. She plays the blonde in that.
Right.
That was a
one of
great
my
movie.
favorite films that she was in was called Bliss, which is a really bleak but also uplifting and sometimes hysterically funny portrait of a marriage that's falling apart because the wife has unresolved childhood issues that she comes to realize later on in the movie. That director only ever made one movie, and it was Bliss. It's a fucking masterpiece. Didn't make anything after that. Still wondering how that happens. Because we still have to go to the theater and see all the shit that gets shat out of Hollywood's big fat fucking ass every day, but we can't get a second film for Lance Young. Kiss my ass.
Yeah, and on that note, I gotta tell you, it's hard for me to get on the internet for Netflix, Hulu, Disney might as well be dead to me. But like Marvel, for example, what the hell are they doing with Marvel? She-Hulk, all that. I know it's a tangent, but why? Are they just trying to destroy their franchises? Is Disney trying to do a going out of business sale? Is that what we're doing?
It's sure what it looks like. Yeah, I mean they're $40 billion in debt and counting.
Yeah, it's just in the content they're putting out. You'd think they'd maybe try to rectify shit with the fans, but no. Let's put out the strong and independent.
Blame them for everything. We make shit. It's your fault because you're toxic.
Yeah.
Right. See, and the funny thing is, all the everybody, not to going off in the weeds here. I'm going to make a couple. Waffles
that's fine.
Here.
Just for a minute.
Gonna make a couple waffles here, but when everybody was complaining and saying, "Oh, well, what? All these people on the left, they don't got jobs. They can't do this. They can't do that." They're apparently getting hired in the movie business because look what they're doing.
Yeah.
Movies, TV shows. After what I heard about what happened with Cartoon Network, the last tiny little bit of my childhood just broke down and cried. I was like, really, Cartoon Network? I mean, I kind of saw they were going that direction. I was hoping they were going to pull away from it. Nope, they just went full head first into the fucking 3-foot pool. And now they got brain damage.
Yeah. All right, getting through a few more of these chats here. We got Polska Bob. He says, The Hidden Soldier Girl. Good to see you here. And I see you're recovering, so that is good to hear. Andrew Kotwicki. I'm going to screw that name up. I'm sorry. The Devils. He says is a good one.
Devils is good, yeah.
Cool.
Not technically a horror film, but it's the ultimate nunsploitation film of all time.
Yeah.
To the point where Warner Brothers still will not release it here.
No shit.
Even after, I don't know how many years, it's got to be over 40 years at this point, they still will not do a home video release of it here. The only one that exists is a DVD with a transfer that was supervised and produced by Mark Kermode. He's a British film critic. Because he loved it so much and wanted it to get done. So the only way that you can see it here is to import it from the UK.
That's crazy.
Huh. And Oliver Reed is in it. You probably know him best from Gladiator, if you're not really into the older movies.
Right.
He was the one who basically took Maximus under his wing to teach him the Gladiator thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was just drunk more often than not when he was acting. Which is quite obvious when you look at his body of work.
Jimmy has a chance in Hollywood then, yeah?
Yeah!
Yeah!
All right, we got Polska Bob with the Candyman. Depends on which version you're talking about, but the newest one I've seen was pretty fucking good, to be honest.
I still haven't watched that one yet. But Tony Todd is always going to be Candyman to me. Tony Todd's the man.
Yeah, all right.
I think I've only seen the first one. I haven't seen any of the very original one. I think I've seen that one, but other than that, I haven't seen any other ones.
You know which one? What's a movie that's really fucked up, that really mentally wrecks people, and it's not considered a horror film?
Sure.
Requiem for a Dream.
Oh fuck, that's a good movie.
Yeah,
that is a really fucking good movie.
That's
like a drug deal,
film, but I think it's one of the most terrifying movies I've ever watched.
Yeah, and that's who is that?
Ellen Burstyn, Jared Leto,
yeah,
Marlon Wayans.
Yeah.
Shooter McGavin's in there too as the infomercial guy. We got a winner.
And Jackal wants to know if that's a real Necronomicon.
No,
he said it's stunk.
The other one is.
The other one is.
The other one is. This one has the DVD in the back.
Oh, there you go.
The other one, though, I don't know.
The question is, where's the third Necronomicon, Blake?
Right. All right, burning through these really quick. We got Slick South, Pet Cemetery. Let's see who else we got in here. We've got.
Book's way better than the movie.
There you go. Read the book if you get a chance. And we've got Dr. Man.
The movie has what's his name? the judge from My Cousin Vinny.
Fred Gwynn.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
I mean,
and then we got
that going for it.
Oh, and it's the boys have a penis, girls have a vagina kid is the little boy. He was a kindergarten cop, and I didn't know this until just a few years ago. The guy who made Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Home Alone, John Hughes, that's his kid.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Miko Hughes. He was also in Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Huh.
Right on. All right, we've got Dr. Manhattan says Signs. That one is, that'll do it. That a couple scenes in there. Paranormal Activity 1, 2, and 3. And I'm only going to read maybe one or two more. So let's see if we got any more. Nope, that is actually all I see for now. If I missed you, I'm sorry, but we got to burn through. Keep it short. So what I'm going to do is play this trailer so Blake can see it and I can get banned.
Banned
again.
I'm doing this for you, man.
Charles banned.
One of our residents passed away last night. What happened? Heart attack.
Generally, I like to ease the new staff in, but these things, well, they happen.
Max had no living relatives.
So then what happens to all this stuff?
I'm going to keep an eye on your screen
What
just
do
in
you
case
have
they
there?
screw with it, because they will
Just like
sometimes
Christmas.
terminate you watching these.
Gotcha.
Having served his country in World War II, Max led an illustrious life.
Would anyone else like to say something about Max?
Did you hear about what happened to Mr. Abbott?
No, what about him?
Max.
They found him in the funeral home, mutilated.
Check on the residents.
Her oxygen tube, it looked like it was yanked out.
Oh, great. Clearly the sign of a deranged serial killer.
Obviously.
It's okay. We're safe. Do you remember anything that happened?
They all owe that creek.
I know what I saw.
Hey, that nurse, man, they tried to put a silencer on them titties. I don't think they did too well.
No.
This is like the AT&T chick. Dr. Death.
There you go. So
Death.
the 14th movie in the Puppet Master franchise there. So
14?
Yeah.
I was still trying to wrap my mind around 13 Halloween films, let alone 14 Puppet Master movies.
You should see their little box set, man. It's like $250.
I don't doubt it. 14.
All right. So we are, I would say, about halfway through the stream here. If you guys need to top off any beers, you need to empty your bladders, do any of that, we've got our usual Billy Von Baum pee-pee break video, and I am the deep fake in this one. So I'll let you guys enjoy that for a minute, and we will be back shortly. All right, we are back. I'm going to add the guys back on here. And looks like Jimmy is still emptying the squirrel bladders, so we'll have to wait on him.
Things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one that's the one movie that really I thought was interesting that I don't know enough people that have actually watched it or even liked it, was when Wes Craven did Dracula 2000, where he dove into the backstory of who Dracula was. He really could have done so much with that whole franchise.
He didn't direct that. I know it was a Wes Craven Presents thing. But yeah, I did think it was a really fascinating idea that Dracula was Judas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, major spoilers on that one, but I thought that was a really cool concept.
It's been out over 20
They
years.
saved it for a reveal at the end as opposed to using it to really flesh out a lot of his motivations.
Yeah. But if there's a lot left in that really could have been, they could have run with that so many different ways.
Yep.
And that was just a shame to see that happen.
Well, I have the opportunity. Well, Jimmy just came back, but while I get the opportunity anyway, I'll go ahead and mention Billy Von Baum does have a stream, I believe, this Sunday coming up. So if you guys want to check him out, he is in the chat right now. Just click on his name, go subscribe, and check out Billy Von Baum. He does awesome stuff, just like that deep fake. He did our intro. He does a lot of stuff on the show with Blake and Pop there. And some of his comedy stuff is just gold. I don't know how he does the voices. He does Biden. He does like Indian call center guys. He does everything. And the guy is hilarious. You guys need to go subscribe. Also, I want to put an honorable mention to Jeffrey Paul. He is also on YouTube. If you haven't checked him out, go on over to Jeffrey Paul. Check out his music. He has just completed his song intro for this channel, which, by the way, is absolutely killer. Blake's heard it. I've heard it. You guys haven't heard it yet, but this dude, he said he laid down like 100 layered tracks or more, and he's got parts where there's 6 guitars playing at once. Like, this dude went heavy on this intro. It's amazing. So I am working in the background with Jeffrey Paul and Billy, hopefully to make some kind of collaboration video for that intro. We'll see how that turns out. No rush. I want it to be a fun process, so as much time as it needs to take. Also, if you're enjoying the content right now, please consider subscribing, hit the bell notification so you see when I go live, and hit the like. It helps piss off YouTube and make sure we are seen in future videos. Also, if you'd like to donate, if this content has been something you enjoy, head on over. For now, I am going to be switching to Cash App, but for now, paypal.com/paypalme/RedPillRhino. It's much appreciated. By the way, those of you that have donated, the most recent one was Soldier Girl. Much appreciated. That was a huge donation, and it definitely helps keep the channel going. Also, yes, Jimmy, thank you for reminding me. You can head over to the description of this video, and we have merch. You can buy beer koozies for the ladies watching, the 3 of you. We have yoga pants, bikinis, all of that. We have hats, we have hoodies, we have everything. So if you need any Red Pill Rhino gear, head on over to the description, and you will find the link to the merch store over there. I am done promoting everything, so let's continue.
I will say this, though. I will say 5 stars for the koozies. Very comfortable.
Yes.
Very nylon. Fits a can perfectly.
You know what you need to do? You need to get a clip from, I don't know if you ever watched these, collection of short cartoons by an animator, Don Hertzfeld. They were called Rejected.
Yeah.
They are amazing. They're on YouTube. You can actually take a rip from them. So the next time you do your little promotion spiel, there's a portion from a Rejected commercial where the 2 stick figures say, "I'm a consumer whore." And how? You put that in there after you're done.
That's brilliant. I like that.
Oh, if you haven't seen those, I will send you a link after we're done. They
Hell
are
yeah.
mandatory viewing for anyone with a sense of humor.
I will use it too if I can. By the way, we are still live, which is good news. It means Susan let me play that, and we got away with it, so that's good. All right. I would normally check the chat, but considering time constraints here, actually, Blake, I'm going to let you have the floor. And what is the most pressing topic you'd like to bring up for this Halloween flick stream tonight? I'm not putting you on the spot.
Well,
or
you know
anything.
what? Let's talk about the Halloween movies. I mean, I know I've seen them all. Not everybody in the chat probably has, or anybody on the, in the show here. But
trying, man.
Okay, we all know the first one is the best.
Right, well, always.
Yes, it is.
What's the worst one you've seen?
I'm going to let them answer first.
Oh. Blake already knows my answer because we texted about this a while back because Blake actually showed me the what's the guy's name? The movie critic guy.
The Cinema Snob?
Yeah, Cinema Snob. Yeah, that was the one. Resurrection. Complete and hands down, complete fucking trash.
Yep. Oh wow.
Where do we even begin with this one?
People who say Rob Zombie ruined the franchise have very selective memory. when it comes to Halloween Resurrection. First of all, virtually any movie with Resurrection as a subtitle is automatic dog shit. Alien Resurrection, The Matrix Resurrections. But I think Halloween Resurrection might be the worst one of them all.
Oh, it was bad.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you've watched H2O, which I still think is the dumb. I always call it 20 years later because H2O is fucking water. So don't call it that. But the end of that movie was very fucking satisfying. Even though you had to sit through 80 minutes of jump scares and LL Cool J writing his porn novels and reading them to his wife on the phone. Funny, but really? Yeah. She cuts his fucking head off with an axe. The whole theater, every time I went and saw it, woo! Huge applause. Yep. Everybody got to their feet. It was universally enjoyed, the end of that movie. How does Resurrection start? By telling the audience, this is your intelligence.
That's it.
All over it. It wasn't Michael she beheaded. A paramedic found Michael. Michael crushed his larynx, which, by the way, you would drown in your own blood in like 3 minutes flat if somebody did that to you.
Yeah.
Switched clothes with him, and then slunk away. So apparently, if you dress like Michael Myers, you have the powers and mannerisms of Michael Myers.
I was going to say, and that paramedic just so happened to survive being pinned by a 3-ton van against a friggin' log.
Thrown out of the front window, the windshield of the van, hit by it, rolls down the hill. The ambulance pins him to a tree, and he's fine. He's stuck.
He's reaching out for help.
Help me, Laurie.
Yeah, it'll grow back.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It's just a flesh wound.
All right, I got to give a shout out to this guy. Not because he asked, but because he wrenches for just about every Red Pill channel I've ever seen. Whether it's Terrence Pop, whether it's Howard Dare, Chris Mitchell, my channel, everyone I can think of. Yeah. Shout out to Polska Bob. If you haven't subscribed to Polska Bob, please do so. And I'm doing that because I like you, not because you told me to.
Polska Bob is the man, the myth, the legend.
Yes,
the minister of beer.
Absolutely.
He is the kielbasa sausage in our pot of red pill stew.
Okay, so I'll do a follow-up question for yours, Blake. Of course, everybody knows Resurrection was the worst.
Ugh.
We all know everyone loves Halloween. Okay, so we're gonna put the original one to the side. Which one is your favorite out of the rest of them?
Out of the rest?
Out of the rest of them.
It's kind of early. I mean, things you have to stew on them for a bit, watch them a few more times. Sometimes things that you didn't bother you in the beginning will tend to bother you later on. Right. But I think Ends might be my number 2. And even though it's still not a good movie, I'm developing a warm place in my black dead heart for Halloween 3. Because there's no logic to it at all. No. But it does have an atmosphere. It's got Tom Atkins. It's the Dean Cundy cinematography. It's got the Carpenter score. Yeah. And it's got Dan O'Herlihy just being glorious as Connell Cochran. And the older I get, the more I start to enjoy the fact that, I don't know if you guys remember, but Tom Atkins, he's tied up, because essentially at this point it's become a James Bond riff, he parades him through the lair, explains his entire plan, and then he leaves him in an easily escapable situation.
Yeah.
And he sits there.
With one camera.
And he says, why? And Connell says, do I need a reason? And in the back of my mind, I'm like, because if we only knew what would follow with the Thorn cult bullshit and the niece fucking and all the other crap that came later, we would have been satisfied with, do I need a reason?
Yeah.
I used to think, well, yeah, you do. But now I'm like, do I really want to know? Probably not.
No. So Crusader, have you seen? Let's just say you've seen a few of them, but have you seen all the Halloween movies?
I think I've seen almost all of them, other than like the last. I haven't watched many movies like the past 5 years.
Okay.
It's fair.
Yeah, I mean,
not much to miss.
Yeah, quality of the film content is lackluster to say the least.
Yeah.
I will say the one series of movies that kind of stuck with me, and it's actually reminding me of situations I've actually encountered in the past, is a little similar like Paranormal Activity or the Insidious ones, because I've actually experienced like stuff that I can't even come up with a logical explanation for.
Yeah.
In places, and I'm now, as I'm older, learning and I'm still trying to figure out how, where, when, and why I've seen some of that stuff actually happen in real life. And I still, as hard as I can research, I can't explain it.
Right.
Yeah,
So
the only thing that I didn't like about Insidious was the fact that when they finally revealed the devil, he looked like Darth Maul.
Yeah. But the simple aspect of like in Paranormal Activity, where things were just randomly happening, and then when you put what was going on in Insidious, if you put that with that, I've actually been in situations where I've been in buildings where I've actually seen people, like Pops talked about, on multiple occasions. I've actually been able to recount like height, hair color, eye color, like full on descriptions of people to somebody else. And they're like, you need to come and see this. And then I was shown I worked in a building where a bar manager was killed in the basement of the bar was being robbed after hours, and the dude that I saw in the basement, shirt color, pants color, hair color, glasses, exactly where I saw him standing was the door to the old office where he was killed. And I saw him, and I saw him kind of flee to the back of the end of the building, and I was on a radio, and I'm like, hey, we got a guy in the building down in the basement, back staircase. And I went after him. And so when I've seen things like that, and then when I watch movies like Insidious or stuff like Paranormal Activity, now looking back at that, it's like, how did that actually happen?
Yeah.
So
Speaking of which, Blake, I need to run this by Pop. I know he's doing the paranormal thing on Thursday with Sandman, but I really, really want to have him on for a paranormal show here. Especially what Nate just said, I remember my dad, when I was young, he worked at a radio station. He was like the oldies radio station DJ guy. And there was a flooded basement in, I'll just say the name, Pueblo, Colorado. Okay. And apparently people died in this basement. Anyway, I was down there. I didn't know the story till I was older, but I was down there with him. It was like the abandoned part of the building. It was all dark down there, weird. But I remember there was a person that was walking towards where he was in. It was one of the studio rooms, one of the old, storage type studio rooms, whatever. So he walked in there and then walked out, walked up the stairs. So I'm thinking it's my dad. It's just somebody in a dark room. So I go follow him up the stairs. My dad's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I thought you went upstairs. He's like, I've been in here the whole time. I've seen weird shit like that. I lived in a house. This is later. It was built in 1913. This house was a trip, man. The long, short version of it is I was at one point I had a cell phone fully charged, and I'm gonna talk about this in more detail if I can get Pop on the show, because I know he has plenty of these stories to share.
Oh, he does.
But I had a cell phone, just fully charged it, and I went from the bedroom where it was at, and I walked out in the living room, and the phone just dies in my hand. Above me is a ceiling fan. The thing just comes to a stop. So I'm not thinking anything, because when this shit happens to you, you're not like, oh, fuck, goes. You're not thinking about that. You're just like, okay, that's fucking weird. But I go flick the switch. Nothing. I go pull the chain on the fan. Nothing. A combination of the two. Nothing. Go check the fuse box. Turn it off. Turn it back on. Nothing. Okay. Did everything in my power, even sitting there spinning the blades, like, come on, what the fuck is wrong with you? Anyway, my buddy comes home hours later. We were roommates at the time, and he fucking touches the fan. Thing just starts spinning again. Okay. This is the same apartment where lights would blow out like a week after you installed them. You'd hear, this is where it gets weird. You'd hear scratching in the walls. You'd hear big band music playing. It was like a 2-acre lot. You'd hear big band music playing out in the yard. You'd go walk towards it. It'd shift to the other side of the yard. You're like, what the fuck? Huh. This got to the point, and I shit you not, we had a Catholic priest come into the house and actually perform an exorcism on the thing.
Yeah, I'd do the same.
Yeah. And I'm not making this up. This was a trip, but he'd go in with his little whole holy water and everything. We'd watch what he was doing. There were blood drips that would appear on the wall, little tiny, but little blood drips in some of the rooms. I'm like, oh shit. So yeah, moved out that house shortly after.
Shit, man.
And
that big band music's playing. Next thing you know, you look at a picture on the wall and it's you from 1927. New Year's Eve ball. Oh fuck!
Here was the trippiest thing. So the priest originally told us this is probably just some bad energy in the house or whatever. Say these prayers, go through, burn a candle, do all this stuff, say the prayers over and over, walk through the house. Okay. At one point, this is a girlfriend from years ago. She goes like really weird. She just sits down in the middle of one room, unresponsive, just staring blankly for like a good 10 minutes. Finally, she snapped out of it, but it's like the next day shit got crazier. You'd hear scratching in the walls. She would stop responding to you randomly. And they say, I'm not an expert in this, but they say the spirits, dark energies attack the weakest person in that premises. Yeah. And she would constantly go into like this state of like, I don't even know how to explain it. She just go blank. You know, it was a trip, but yeah, I'd love to have a pop on for that because I know he has crazy stories as well, and I'd like to shoot the shit with him on that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, back to the topic.
Yeah, just ask him; he'll be down for that.
Hell yeah, I will do that. Crusader, as far as Halloween, other than the first one, what would you say were your second favorite was?
I still like the combo of 1 and 2.
Okay.
Just the way the second one carries on after the. I can't watch the first one without watching the second one immediately after.
Yeah.
Well, they're so inextricably linked, and
yeah,
I think that's why 3 was so. People just kind of tossed it out of the hat without really fairly assessing it, yeah. and I suppose being released before the internet didn't help it because I mean, if you're going to start an anthology, start it with the second one. Don't have 2 that are just. I mean, you can't unglue these movies from each other. They are solid, and then 3 comes out, and they're like, "What the fuck?" Yeah. I mean, just put yourself into the head of somebody in 1982, and you're thinking, "Oh, Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. What is he resurrected by a coven of witches? Whatever. Fuck it, I'll go see that." Yeah. You're like, he's not even in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And, Crusader, what was your least favorite in the series?
I'd say 3 really. Blake, you're right on that. 3 really threw it, and I was leery about going to see any of them after.
Yeah.
And I still compare everything to the first 2.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And
yep.
After 3 was horrible.
I mean, give it another shot, knowing what it is.
Yeah.
Just for fun, because it's very much like it's like an Outer Limits episode. It's like James Bond and Invasion of the Body Snatchers and Scooby-Doo all decided to have like a 3-way, and then like, but it's the Hitchcock everyman that's in the corner with the video camera crying. I guess this is kind of turning me on. It's a weird thing because it bounces between like the different moods so crazy. I mean, because you've got 2 people who really shouldn't even be in a room together trying to solve a mystery. You've got the witchcraft thing, the megalomaniacal villain, who has to take them on the tour through his lair and everything. Lair, you know, he's got to do all that shit. Like there's so many influences all coming together in one script, and it doesn't work.
No,
but I like where its head is. You know, if that makes any sense.
It had the right spirit.
Yeah, the only way I can really describe 3, Blake, you're probably enough of a film / cult classic movie buff guy that would understand it. Back in the late 80s, there used to be a mini series called Amazing Stories.
Yeah.
Halloween 3 reminds me of an episode of Amazing Stories.
Yeah, it's got kind of an Outer Limits feel to it as well.
None of
which
it
Outer
goes
Limits
together.
is kind of like Twilight Zone has a little bit more of a feel to that, but I mean, because you know, like the ending of like the Just Desserts thing is kind of in there. They don't always have a happy ending, but I don't know. I rewrote the ending to Halloween 3, and I think my ending's better because I think her being a robot is fucking retarded.
Right?
Yeah. Stupid.
Yeah.
I remember watching like, okay, let's just say for a second that I believe that, you know, OCP's president can actually make, you know, robots that look like humans. You know, he can go full Terminator with it. But I don't believe that you can make those in 20 minutes.
No.
You know, that's where I draw the line. So when she reveals herself to be, you know, the bad guy after helping him to defeat her creator, that's where I'm like, and I don't blame anybody for checking out of it at that point.
Yeah.
There's a lot of points where you can check out along the way, but that one in particular, that is intelligence insulting.
You're right. So here, my worst, I'll give you my worst and then my favorite after the first one. Again, I haven't seen them all, so I'm only giving you the old stuff. But my worst, obviously, we're talking about it, it's 3. Okay. And this is a Red Pill channel, so let me just go down this road with you with a Red Pill lens here. He does have the nagging, bitchy wife. You see that in the beginning. And
Nancy Loomis from the original.
But, I mean, the stereotypes are there. He's a doctor. The nurses are all horny for him. But the whole movie it throws me off with this. Like half the story is this guy just getting pooned from random chicks.
I mean, you could do a lot worse than Stacey Nelkin.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say. I mean, I could have used a full breast shot, you know, but that's just, you know, personal thing. But I remember one of my favorite parts is, you know, like he's like making out with her tits in the one scene while the chick is getting throat fucked by the silver shamrock tag. And then they're laying there afterwards, and he's already clearly had his way with every hole on this chick's body, and he says, "How old are you?"
Yeah, after the fact. Like, shouldn't you have checked IDs to begin with?
It's like, now that I'm a felon in 46 states, how old are you? Like,
right.
Yeah. It was that, and it was everything, dude. From the credits rolling with the digital pumpkin. I get it. Like, we're trendy, it's new. But
it's not even that. It harkens to the entire idea of witchcraft in a digital age.
Fair enough.
So that kind of figures into what all is happening later on. But
now here's where it really trips me up. So there's a scene where he walks in and there's this like robot chick sewing or crocheting or whatever. You remember that? I'm like, oh, the fucking witch revealed herself. And then she's like a fucking robot mannequin thing just sitting there. I'm like, okay, here's my issue. Blake, you can criticize me if you want, but where is the witch? Where's the witch? Warlock. Okay, maybe warlock. But that would be a warlock, a male witch, right?
Not necessarily. They don't. I mean, if you talk to the Wiccas, they will tell you that they're all just witches. There's no warlocks. It's like a different thing or whatever. Or maybe it's just part of how it was all twisted later on, because like the symbols mean different things depending on which direction they're facing. Right. I don't fucking know. But that's another good one. Warlock with Julian Sands. Good flick.
Also, I want to ask you, because you're the expert on Halloween, what is with... I interpreted it, because I saw it as a Norse pagan rune. Michael has a tattoo on his wrist
Only in part 5 and 6.
Yes. What is that about? Is that a rune?
4, 5, and 6 are derived from the Curse of Thorn,
But
which
4
actually
didn't even
I
have
want
any
to
of
have
that in
a
there.
4 didn't.
4 is just the first movie with a 9-year-old
that's
kid
right,
instead
that's right.
of yeah.
That's right. With this. Okay, yeah.
Well shot, good suspense, and Ellie Cornell, even though her character is a bitch, you know that scene where she's on the roof, she injured herself on a nail that was sticking up through the shingles, ripped the shit out of her. She still
Holy
finished
shit.
the scene and insisted on finishing the scene and nailing a good take before she allowed them to give her medical care. As I
Wow.
have issues with that, but respect, you know.
Yeah.
But then
So-
in 5 is the first time you see him when he's miraculously in a coma for a
Yeah.
year and doesn't have to eat or drink.
Right.
Whatever. And then as his arm turns over and you see the thing there that's never been there before. And I guess Daniel Farrens decided he was going to figure out a way to make that into a story. And then we got niece
Never
fucking and a blood cult. And I think originally they were actually going to try to tie that in with part 3 to where Connell Cochran would have been like the one who brought the Thorn cult over here or some shit.
Yeah.
But they never worked that in.
It's strange because, I mean, hang on a second. Just if you guys want to keep talking, I'm going to drop off screen for a second. I'm going to look up the rune because I guarantee you that was a rune. And I don't know why they chose that. Because it's Norse pagan. It's not witchcraft.
Yep.
I mean, it could be. It could be.
It could be.
I mean, I don't know anything about that or anything, but it's not typically
Talking
witchcraft.
out of your ass, man.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll be right back.
But Blake, I would actually like to go back because I remember you and I texting quite a while ago, quite a few months ago. We were actually talking about Halloween. I think your idea of making a Curse of Thorn movie would be a lot better than how Halloween handled it.
Well, it would have to be a completely separate thing from Michael Myers.
Oh yeah,
you
absolutely.
have to actually just
Yeah,
take the
there's-
story and figure out a way to make that make sense without niece fucking or any of that other insanity
Yes.
that they worked into it.
Yes,
'Cause
no niece fucking,
6
please.
6 is one of the best looking pieces of shit you'll ever watch.
agree.
Don't watch the theatrical cut. That is what happens
No.
when people with ADHD spill coffee on the editing machine and no one knows what the fuck is going on. And they have a self-sabotage fetish. These are the kind of people who would staple their own nutsack to the ceiling just to see if it would work. Like, they are nuts. But there's no
also known
fixing
as
that
Evil
script.
Pop also known as Evil Pop tries to edit a movie.
Yeah, pretty much. I've seen Pop try to edit video. It's not pleasant. So don't take me back on that road.
So the rune he has tattooed on, and I don't know if this applies to what you guys are saying, but it's Thurizaz, which is thorn. It translates as thorn. So there had to have been some correlation there.
Yeah, that is. It's the whole thorn cult. The idea being that one child from every family is supposed to be inflicted with the curse of thorn. That child is supposed to lay waste to his entire bloodline in order to make sure that famine didn't befall all the tribes.
Huh.
That was the idea.
Interesting.
And for some reason, it bestowed, powers of immortality and, resistance to gunshots and fire and everything else to Michael Myers.
Just shoot him 10 times. He'll be fine.
Although Loomis somehow survived that same explosion, so...
Yeah,
what do I know?
and only a small scar on his face. No big deal.
Which is gone in part 6. And if you watch the theatrical cut, they don't talk about the fact that he doesn't have the scars anymore. But in the producer's cut, he talks about getting skin grafts. So maybe you shouldn't cut out the scene if the result is a plot hole.
Right.
I shouldn't have to tell people who get paid money to do this.
Yeah. See, and the only reason why I can give a little bit of respect to 6 is because that is the very last movie that Loomis was in.
Yes.
And
ironic, his first line. Because he's listening to the radio show and they say, I thought that old quack was dead. And he says, not dead, just very much retired. Touche.
Yeah. All right.
Funny thing is,
so
in the a little bit more waffling on 6, but
Oh, you're fine.
The scene where it's Loomis and the other dude, I fucking can't remember his name. I need to rewatch all those movies. They had to reshoot that scene because the guy that played Loomis had died like a week or two.
When they did the
after that.
reshoots, he was
Before
already
that.
dead. And Joe Chappelle, the director, thought Donald Pleasance was, get ready for this, boring. Which is why most of his scenes are truncated or sometimes outright cut out of the theatrical cut.
Wow.
But it still says in loving memory of Donald Pleasance, yeah, you loved him so much, you cut out half his scenes and called him boring. Fuck you, Joe Chappelle.
Shit. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you guys my favorite other than the original. And again, I haven't seen them all, so don't judge me. But I actually liked 4, and it's probably not for the reason you think. The acting of the young girl in that was convincing, and I feel very few films ever in any genre do the children actually truly act scared, other than Jurassic Park, where the glass is actually falling on them and they're terrified.
Yes.
But she did a very good job of being convincing. I mean, if I was in front of a little kid that's dealing with Michael, that's how they'd act. That was well done.
Still act your ass off.
Oh yeah,
Danielle Harris. I mean, she played Annie in the Rob Zombie remakes too.
Yeah,
and she's one of the best things about those movies. And she replaced, I forget who the original actress was in the first Hatchet movie, but she took over for her in the sequels, and she's very good in those too. But yeah, I would say best little girl performance in horror next to Linda Blair in The Exorcist. I would stake that claim.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I definitely agree with that.
And I'm in agreement with Rhino. Halloween 4 is my favorite, sans the original and the remakes.
Now what screws me up is 5. And I don't know the thinking on this, but you take a girl that can act and you have her mute, and probably from screaming every night, but you have her mute for 3/4 of the movie.
Yeah.
And she has the talent to actually act. Why did you strip that away from her?
Yeah.
That bugged me.
Yeah.
That bugs me. Well, I think a big part of that was the script for 4 was written in 11 days.
No shit.
So, because there was a Writers Guild strike going on. So that ending was literally just pull a rabbit out of a hat kind of an ending. And they didn't know whether there was even going to be a 5th one. And then they rushed the 5th one so fast, it came out the following year. And in virtually every country other than America, it went straight to video.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the 5th didn't do it for me, man. I'm like,
no, yeah.
What am I watching here?
Yeah.
Grease?
There's some really good menacing moments in it.
Yeah.
But my gosh, the pranking, the endless amounts of false starts and pranking of the characters on each other, and Tina is annoying as shit.
Oh, Tina!
As soon as he stabs Ellie Cornell, Rachel, I'm like, Tina's gonna be our new lead, isn't she? Yeah. All right. I'm only 7, but Mom, we got any beers in the fridge?
Yeah.
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 Yep. I had that same thinking. I was like, man, I really like this girl. But then all of a sudden Rachel gets stabbed. I'm like, oh great, we get Tina now.
Yeah, now we get Tina and the
Tina
blonde chick.
Tina.
Yeah, and the blonde chick's boyfriend spits. And his brother swallows. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is but the thing is, what really cracks me up is people still insist Rob Zombie ruined the franchise. Oh yes, he ruined this totally flawless, masterful series of films where all of them were just as good as the original. Piss off. At least the Rob Zombie films had Danielle Harris and Malcolm fucking McDowell and Brad Dourif. You can argue with a lot of things about the zombie films. You cannot argue with the casting.
No.
I mean, Dee Wallace is in the first one, and I fucking love Dee Wallace. I've met her in person a couple of times. She is the sweetest old lady you'll ever meet. And I went to go see Danielle Harris. She had already skipped town early, so I'm like, and then Dee Wallace is just standing there, and she's like petting people's dogs and stuff. And I wound up talking to her for like 10, 15 minutes. She's amazing. And I asked her, she's talking about different things, and I said, "Hey, you ever see Howling 2?" And this is her face. She's signing my poster, and she goes, "I've never watched it."
I've never.
I was like, "That's probably a good choice." But that's another great one for this time of year, The Howling. That one, I think, edges out American Werewolf in London for me.
Which kind of leads to my next question, because we have not been there and we've had the whole stream to ask, and I have not yet done it. What got you, Blake, into doing the whole movie reviewing and all of that? What got you into it?
I was doing that before I ever met Pop. Actually.
Yeah.
If you go onto Amazon and you look up, there's a movie from the 1980s with James Garner and Sally Field. It's called Murphy's Romance. If you look up that movie and you look at the most helpful review, it'll be written by me in 2001.
No shit.
I've been reviewing things online just for fun for that long. And I've been working with a Movie Sleuth now for, I don't know, almost 10 years. And very briefly, when I was still editing on Final Butt Pro, which is why I stopped doing it because it's 100 times more difficult, I tried doing like a comedy review thing.
Right.
And I did 5-6 episodes, and they were very well received, but it was so much work because you can't take MP4s or stream files and bring them into that editing suite. It was just a huge pain in the ass. So each video would take probably 80 hours to edit. And when I was trying to get them out frequently, it just wasn't feasible. Now with Premiere, I can do it easily. I did when we did Star Wars month in 2019, Pop and we were shooting those on Monday and they were being debuted on Friday. That's how efficient I got at it. So I want to get back into doing that again.
So on that note, what was your experience with the whole ends thing? Because you told me briefly some of the stuff you were involved with there. Tell us a little bit more now that you're on live.
With ends?
Yeah.
Specifically? Okay. Well, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but I've just been really loving the backlash. It's been hilarious to me. I've seen the movie twice. I really like what it's doing. I like that it's just going for a swing for the fences approach after doing what everyone expected. You know, it did like Force Awakens levels of fan service in 2018.
Yeah.
And then in Kills, it's doing its own thing, but it's constantly referring back to the original. Like half of the dialogue is either trailer speak or it's referring back to the original.
Wow.
I'm sorry, this is the 12th film in the franchise. All I can do is say, I know. Can we move on, please?
Yeah.
Ends was the first one that was living in the present of its own story, where it was people having discussions and conversations about what actually mattered to them without constantly throwing back to the original.
Yeah.
We have Jamie Lee Curtis's memoir for that, which provides helpful voiceover narration for people who may, decide that, hey, this 13th film in a franchise that's been out since 1978, maybe I'll jump on with this one. So you get a little bit of a recap there.
Huh.
But it is so different than what I expected. And I think it's so different to the point where as soon as I walked out of the theater, I was like, oh man, this is going to piss so many people off. It's going to be great. And I knew that my review was going to piss a lot of people off. And I was right. How could you possibly say it's the best since the original? I said it might be. I'm still thinking about it.
So for those that haven't seen it, is it safe to compare it? Maybe better, obviously, but is it safe to compare it to 3 in any capacity?
It's definitely got that. It's like 3 if 3 was more self-aware of what it was doing. If 3 was cognizant of what the backlash to itself was going to be, that's Halloween Ends.
All right.
This
Well,
is the
that's a
Michael
definite
Myers
watch.
movie for fans of Halloween 3.
Huh. With Jamie Lee Curtis. So
With
there
Jamie
you
Lee
go.
Curtis. It gives you everything you want, but it also gives you a completely original story from which you can actually take elements of it and infer things back to the prior entries too.
Interesting.
Because it's about the seed of evil and how it grows. And in the end, there's a moment there where it didn't hit me the first time, but the second time watching it, where I realized that this character that we've been following through the film, he was Laurie's window into understanding who Michael was before he became Michael Myers.
Ah.
So
it's a
there's
bit of a
some
backstory
insight there.
there.
It's easily the best script of the entire sequel trilogy because it's not so reliant on everything that came before it.
Actually, I just dropped the link to your review in the chat there, Blake. So if
thank you.
I see
anybody
that
wants,
there.
yep. So if anybody wants to go ahead and read it out, there are some inside if you know you knows in there. So if you know, you know.
I think I said that, for some people this is going to work. For other people, this is going to be the franchise's Roy. If you know, you know.
And I know. I read that and I was like, oh, Blake's gonna
much less tits, far less tits, and that could be a help or a hindrance depending on your point of view.
Yep.
Did you know Friday the 13th Part 5 was directed by a guy who used to do porn?
No shit.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, when you watch it, it becomes pretty obvious. Like, oh yeah, I could definitely see why he used to do porn. He also directed one with Linda Blair called Savage Streets. And that one was definitely directed by somebody who was fresh out of porn. Like he shot, somebody getting it all over their face, and then he walked over and said, "Hey, Linda Blair, you want to make a movie?" Like literally just cut. Hey, Linda, do you want a pointless breast shot of you smoking a cigarette in the bathtub with your glorious tits just floating there in the water? Yeah, that sounds like fun. All right, let's do it. It's genius.
Good times. Oh,
Maybe that's where
shit.
Hunter got it from.
Hey, Savage Streets was actually a lot of fun too. It's a revenge movie. If everyone in the movie is just a scumbag, I guess it's okay to take revenge on all of them. So, whatever. And women having shower fights.
Yeah, good times.
That part was fun. It was good times.
Crusader, I got to ask you, because you are the man that knows some things that some of us probably wouldn't ever want to know. Now, that might not be everybody, because I'm kind of curious to pick your brain in future streams, but based on all sorts of topics, but based on some of the studies you've done, out of all the films you've seen, doesn't even have to be necessarily horror, but let's say psychological studies on the insane, schizophrenic, let's say psychopathic, sociopathic, what movie best represents that mindset? What movie does it for you?
Like, what movie actually gets it 100% right?
Well, let's say 99, 98, something like that.
I got one.
There's a couple of movies that I can think of. One is the movie Fracture.
Okay.
Ryan Gosling and Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah. The other one is the movie Law Abiding Citizen with Gerard Butler. Where the way he actually thinks through how everything works. It takes a special type of person to think that way. And whoever actually thought through and wrote to create that character definitely has a background in researching human behavior. On Anthony Hopkins' character in Fracture, as well as Gerard Butler's character in Law Abiding Citizen, because there are people that think that way. And that's kind of what my fascination is that got me into doing research like this stuff.
Yeah.
So,
right on.
I filed multiple IRB applications to go sit and interview Manson, Kaczynski, and for some odd reason, they don't want anyone to talk to those guys.
I wonder why.
Wasn't Manson like marrying chicks in prison?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he got married.
Yeah.
He got
I
married
wonder
while
why
he
they
was
didn't
in
want anybody
prison.
to talk to him.
Well, no. What I wanted to do is I actually wanted to get a genetic sample and do a psychological breakdown of them.
Oh.
Yeah, which definitely got shot down by the deputy warden and the warden.
Naturally.
Right. So, but those were probably the two movies that I can think of that really stand out to me, that whoever wrote those characters or created the fine details of those characters really got it right.
Oh yeah. So if you guys are looking for a couple movies to check out that get the whole thing right as far as the mind, go check those out. Blake, what was yours? You said you had one.
There's one that always sticks out to me. Just, I'm not sure if the psychology is 1000% correct, but it really rings true when you watch it. Just the performance is amazing. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Michael Rooker plays Henry. It was based on a real guy, or at least inspired by him.
Yeah.
And shit, man, the sadism and cruelty of that character and his roommate Otis, played by Tom Towles. Wow, that movie was commissioned to be just another slasher film,
right?
But it's John McNaughton who directed Wild Things, so this is not a guy who can do a typical film at all. I mean, Wild Things is the best erotic thriller of the 90s, fucking bar none. It's way better than the Basic Instinct bullshit that greenlit it in the first place.
Yeah.
But Henry was so gritty and realistic and terrifying to the point where it was actually on a shelf for 5 years because they didn't know how to market it.
No shit.
Because it's not a guy in a mask who doesn't speak. It's an ordinary, everyday blue-collar dude who does random jobs and uses those jobs to stalk and kill women.
Wow.
Like he'll...
Crusader, have you seen that?
No, I haven't. I'm going to have to look into that.
Yeah,
but it
same
sounds
here.
like a very loose interpretation of the life of Richard Kuklinski.
The Iceman.
Yep, exactly, Blake. Imagine if they were to make a movie about his life.
They did. It's called The Iceman. Michael Shannon's in it.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. This guy, Henry, was actually based on a person named Henry, but I think they took a little bit of influence from Ted Bundy as well.
Wow.
Just because Michael Rooker he's a lot better looking than the Henry person, so he was a little bit closer to a Ted Bundy. And he's so damn good in it, and he's kind of like, you remember in The Dark Knight when the Joker's story about how he gets the scars, they change from scene to scene.
Right.
Yeah.
Within explaining what his life was like with his mom to a woman who is foolishly falling for him, he gets his own story wrong.
Huh.
So I guarantee you Christopher Nolan watched Henry.
Yeah, I got a bookmark. I'll go back and watch that. I've never even heard of that. Never heard of Henry.
It's amazing. I just got a 4K release from Arrow that I actually picked it up. It was like $50 for it, but it's Henry, so it's worth it.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch that. But yeah, I'm fascinated and have been fascinated by people like that. And, there's a morbid fascination to actually study people like that.
Right.
Yeah. The movie itself is like a study within a study. And it's also, it kind of, it almost foresees our own current generation's narcissism with social media. because at that point in time they were doing VHS recorders were just becoming popular in everyday like homes where you basically would have to rent them. They were about $1,000 in the JCPenney catalog. These guys steal one, and we see what they've recorded as they massacre an entire family. But then it pulls out of the TV and it shows them watching the tape of what they've already done.
Wow.
It's highly fucking unsettling.
I'll definitely have to check that out. Yeah, see, for me, I think the most horrifying things, and this goes kind of off in the weeds, but hear me out. I am fascinated by the mind of serial killers in general. Just how they operate, how they think, their lack of empathy, just everything about them. There's something like I can sit down and watch a Freddy Krueger film and I'm like, it's almost comical to me. I don't,
especially after 4.
Yeah, exactly. But there's like nothing scary in there. It's, I'm going to kill you, bitch.
Welcome to prime time, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. But when you jump in the mind of psychopathy and stuff like that, it just how these people develop. And obviously there's a lot of trauma in their past, usually from childhood, shit like that. But the way they develop and the way they just are so dead to feeling anything, including remorse for anything they do. It's just a normal day for them. That is the shit that gives me nightmares, man. But I'm fascinated by it. I can't look away. It's like the train coming at you and you can't look away.
Yeah, I've been studying that stuff for 12 to 15 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it fascinates me. That's why I went into the line of work I did, is, studying genetics and everything else and looking at what makes these people do that. That's why your typical, mainstream horror movies, I mean, for me to watch that, it's like, okay, this is, there's really no depth to it.
This is just entertainment. Yeah.
It's a good time.
Yeah. It's like watching Idiocracy or like going out in public.
Yeah.
Or like going out in public. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
It's gore porn most of the time.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's why movies like Henry just stick out. Because, after a while, like you kill enough people, it no longer bothers you. Kuklinski, like you were talking about, people have asked him, like, how do you feel about killing? He's like, doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
There's a scene in Henry where his roommate gets his nose broken, and all he says is, oh man, I'd like to kill somebody for this. And then Henry says, say that again. I'd like to kill somebody. Let's go for a drive.
Wow.
And they literally go for a drive, pull over to the side of a tunnel, just leave the hood up and turn the hazards on. First guy that pulls up, Otis,
that's it.
Would you like the guy to give you a hand? Pulls out a gun, shoots him in the head twice, and they fucking drive off. That's it.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched, can't remember who the reporter was, but there's a reporter that did a long interview with Kuklinski. And went through his childhood and went through everything. And he tells all the bits and pieces of, he was a hitman for the mob.
Yep.
And
I think that interview's on YouTube.
Is that?
If you guys want to watch it.
But he talks about, going back to his childhood, all the little things he went through as a child and all the things. I mean, dude went out and just offed people like the night before Christmas with his wife and kids at home. And didn't even blink. I mean, those are the stories that are really interesting if they can actually get the story right.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of the Trinity Killer in the 4th season of Dexter.
Yeah.
Because he's the family man at home and he looks like he's got the ideal life, but then he's got this secret thing that he just goes out at night and does, and no one's the wiser.
It was hard for me to get into that just because Third Rock from the Sun.
Well, I grew up watching him in movies like Blowout, Raising Cain. So when I saw him on Dexter, I was like, oh yeah, I can see this. But then I see people who grew up watching him on Third Rock, and they're like,
I'm like, really? This guy?
The look on their face is like when Stewie realizes he's sucking on Peter Griffin's nipple. It's like,
yeah. On that note, we're about to wrap up, guys, because I don't want to keep this video too long. But have any of you seen the new Netflix Dahmer? It's not a documentary, but it's like I don't know how to explain it. Docu-series.
With Evan Peters, Quicksilver from the X-Men movies.
Yes.
haven't seen it, but grew up very close to the area where Dahmer lived, and actually do know some people that used to work with him.
Ooh.
And know a few officers that were there to investigate during that whole time.
Wow.
And
I'd like to find out their opinion on the Netflix series.
Yeah. Yeah.
What they told me was 10 to 15% accurate.
Oh, wow.
That's a bummer.
But of course, the only thing that the Alphabet Mafia cares about is that it was identifiable under their tag on Netflix. How dare you?
I saw that.
We don't do that.
Yeah. Like, and they finally they decided to take it down not to offend anybody. But I mean, let's just be honest here, guys. Whether it's a positive representation or not, that is technically accurate. That is part of your community.
It is what it is.
Yeah. But you know, let's pick and choose.
I haven't had Netflix since they made, what was it, Cuties or whatever. I was like, I'm done. Nope, I'm done.
Yeah.
But I've seen memes, and I'm like, okay, this show is obviously popular. I have no intention on seeing it, so I'll just learn what it's about through the memes. And the memes didn't tell me a goddamn thing. They just made me laugh.
Yeah.
I didn't bother to watch it. Never going to watch it. Don't want to know about it.
What I wish they would actually do.
I'm totally fine with.
What I wish they would actually do movies on would be like guys like Ed Gein.
They did do one, but it was straight to video.
Yeah. I was also lucky enough to be out in Utah and within 1 mile of Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh shit.
And yeah, like close enough to where I could see it. I could see the entire. I can see the fence lines. You can see all the structures. Yeah, you have to. The only way you can do that is you have to get permission from the Native American reservation. They guide you on. They basically tell you don't go over here. When they turn around, you disappear and go over there. And I don't advise that. But yeah, I wish they would be a little more straight and accurate to the truth with like Dahmer, Gein, Gacy. Like if they were more accurate with those, that would be awesome to, you would really mess with people's minds and teach them a bit more about history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
See, I did watch the the Ted Bundy one. I did watch that one just because my curiosity got the best of me, and I had very little knowledge of who he was and what he did. I know what he did, obviously, but I was like, okay, I'll watch this. I don't know how completely accurate it was. I mean, it was entertaining.
This one was Zac Efron? The one you're talking about?
It was the one on Netflix.
Yeah, the one with Zac Efron, yeah.
I
actually heard his performance was great. I do want to watch it.
Yeah, it actually was a pretty decent show, but I was like, fuck, this guy is a fucked up individual. Why am I watching this? It's like,
but the thing about Bundy is dude was a charmer.
Yep.
Yeah.
When I was out in Salt Lake,
even the chicks being interviewed, why are you even here in the courtroom? He's such a hottie. It's like,
yeah,
you're gonna call him a hottie. He's gonna give you the best 7 to 10 minutes of your life, and then you're gonna wake up without your head on your shoulders.
Right.
Yeah. Good times.
I remember I lived out in Salt Lake for a while, and before they tore down the old Salt Lake City jail where he was held, they used to run tours through there on Halloween.
Wow.
Wow.
That's appropriate. Or inappropriate, depending on how you look at it.
Well, the tickets were expensive, and you basically get to walk through and see the cell that Bundy was in.
Yeah, women go in there and touch themselves to this day.
No, you could walk by the cell and you're there maybe 30 to 40 seconds.
About you, I touch myself.
God damn it, Jimmy. All right, on that note, any final thoughts from you, Blake?
I do have 2 final thoughts. If you have not seen Halloween Ends, There are going to be 2 moments in there that should remind you of Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. If
Okay.
you've already seen it and you know what they are, put them in the chat. I'm curious to see who actually picked up on them, because I think I might have been the only one.
All right.
I leaned over to my
I'm gonna
buddy
have
at
to-
one point, and I said the line from Part 4, and he's like, "Oh yeah." And then later on, there was a second moment. Yeah, we're starting to actually kind of cross lines here.
Man, you're crossing the streams, man. You're not supposed to do that.
It would be bad.
Very bad.
Well, I guess
All
I'm gonna
right.
have to watch Part 4 then, and then go watch Ends this weekend or something.
There you go.
Hell yeah,
See
man.
if I can pick up what you're putting down.
I got to go take
yeah.
my mom to go see Halloween Ends, because she was the one who got me started with Michael Myers in the first place. When 2018 came out, I made sure I took her to go and see that. So she went and saw Kills without me. I was like, oh man, I really wanted to see how disgusted you would look. There are so many moments of just pure gorehound oblivion that are just wonderful in Kills. One guy gets stabbed through the eye and pinned to the roof of a Jeep. And then, of course, there's Big John and Little John. Gets stabbed. His subclavian artery gets severed, and then Michael shoves his thumbs into his eye sockets, and you actually see his eyeballs pop out past his thumbs. Like, why did I not get to see my mom reacting to this gore porn? That would have been amazing.
Right.
But, Ends has got some really good moments, too, one of which has to do with a DJ and his tongue. So you'll get a good chuckle out of that one, Jimmy.
I'll have to watch that.
See, because I've kind of spoiled myself, because there's a I can't remember the name of the YouTube channel, but they do the history of horror.
Yeah.
CZ something or other like that. I mean, it looks like a total emo dude from like the 2000s or whatever, and he's going through there and talking about it. Does a really good job though. Really good entertaining stuff. But they did an updated version of the history of Michael Myers, so I've kind of spoiled myself with Ends and a little bit of Kills, because I didn't go see Kills. So I'm like, I really didn't want to watch it, but I was like, I gotta watch it.
Yep.
So I might have to drink myself into an oblivion so that I forget about it and then go see Ends.
Well,
Hey, but at least the beer is cold with the Red Pill Rhino koozie.
Absolutely. And
you,
really,
Jimmy.
the
Very cold.
1978 scenes alone in Kills are worth the price of admission, so to speak.
See, and that's what I heard. I heard they did a fantastic job completely remaking.
Yeah, and they kept that really close to the chest too.
Yep.
So when it happened in the first time in the theater, because I saw it before anyone, I was in the press pool, and then it goes back to 1978, and you see that first shot of Michael in 1978 walking toward the camera. I was like, this has to be old footage that was never released. Nope. They did it perfect, to the point where they even recreated Donald Pleasance using one of their production set designers. They just put some prosthetic makeup on him, and he's a dead fucking ringer for Donald Pleasance.
Yep. Yeah, the YouTube channel I mentioned, he talked about the Donald Pleasance.
Yeah. I thought it was a
Interim.
deep fake, but it looked too solid to be a deep fake. And then when I found out it was just prosthetics, I was like, give that guy an Oscar, because it was amazing.
Oh yeah. Crusader, final thoughts from you tonight.
Listening to all you guys, I remember watching all those movies, but they never really stuck in my brain. I'm going to have to sit down and go back and study them again.
Yeah. Let me know what you think of Henry. If you get a hold of that one and give it a watch, let me know what you think.
That one is on my list for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to... Blake, I got your email.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I want to look into that, but a lot of the stuff you guys are talking about, like I remember some of the older B horror flicks, like Vampire Bats, The Gate, some of the old cheesy ones.
Frogs.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember all of those old cheesy ones, more than I remember any of the Halloween ones.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, sometimes you just need a dose of good cheese, like David Cronenberg's movie Shivers. Man, that one's just, it's essentially like, what was the one? Slither.
Oh.
That was like Night of the Creeps and Slither beta version. But, it's still fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to have to go back and rewatch the entire Halloween franchise.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The older I get, the less patience I have for some of them. Like I love 2, but I don't love 2.
Yeah.
Because I wonder, I'm like, they already found the bodies. I can hear the sirens coming. They're already there.
Right.
Like you're hearing about it on the radio. They've already picked up the bodies at this point. We saw them unloading Lori from the house. What the hell is going on?
By the way, this coming in from Jackal Hunter really quick. Red Pill Rhino, if gore porn you want to see, I'll get the footage of Drukovama or something. Research files created by the site director himself. Worse than war crime accounts. File I sent to Blake. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Shoot him over. Sure. Why not? We got Riggs. This isn't actual, but we got Riggs in here saying Blake's email is CrytanicCruiseLines.com. And
you assholes.
Polska Bob says wrong, Riggs. It's GayCruises.com.
All the gay cruises.
Oh shit!
I'm just waiting for somebody to actually get those websites up.
Right? Someone's going to. I guarantee it.
It's sooner or later because we got don'tmarryher.com redirecting to the main website. So it's only a matter of time. Crytanic Cruise Lines.
And Jimmy, what are your final thoughts after hearing that tonight?
Well, as long as Blake is the captain and I'm the first mate, gay cruises all the way. Yeah.
Gay cruises all the way. You scrub the poop deck, Jimmy.
Someone capture that audio file.
I make someone else scrub the poop deck.
You make someone else scrub the poop deck, yeah.
Shit.
That's why you're my number one, man.
Shit, man. All right, guys. It has been a definite fun show tonight. Really enjoyed it. Blake, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an honor and a privilege, sir.
Yeah. Hey, you're always welcome back anytime. We're going to be doing a midterms reaction stream in like a week and a half. And we're probably going to just do StreamYard for that so we can have as many of you guys on as we can because it's going to be a crazy night. And I'm sure we're going to see some honking.
I am not going to miss that stream for the world. I'm there, man. You got me that night. Hell yeah.
Times.
And Crusader, thank you as always for coming on. If you didn't already know, Crusader is basically the co-pilot of Red Pill Rhino. He's on almost all of our shows, and he does an awesome job here. So,
yeah,
Crusader, thank you so much for being here tonight.
I try. It's a privilege to be here.
Hell yeah, man. Your knowledge is always awesome, and we still have to do our Psychopath stream. It's still there. We're gonna do it. That's the next one we're gonna dive into.
I know I freaked you and Jimmy out that night. We had a conversation about those people. Like that.
That's what I'm saying. This stream is a need to happen. That'll probably be next Wednesday.
You can talk to Pop about that too, because he actually talks about how he had to train men in the army to become fully functional sociopaths. So I'm sure he could offer you some insights too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know what Pop's doing on Wednesdays, but that would be I could talk to him about that.
It's hump days, so we'll have to.
He never answers his messenger. So what's the best way to?
And no one can actually spy on him because he's got the no fap flap on his webcam, so we can't find out what he's doing.
It's King Dong's in the slot A.
Blake, after the show, shoot me a message and let me know the best way to reach him, because I'd like to have, if we can have Pop on that show, that would be excellent.
I'll just give you his number.
Okay, perfect.
Hogslayer, 1-800-Hogslayer.
1-800-Hogslayer. 1-800-WET-TITS.
1-800-WET TITS. That's it. Oh, that was epic.
That would actually for Pop it'd be 1-800-MAN-TITS.
Man-TITS.
1-800-Hogslayer would be good.
Oh, I really wish we could have Hog Slayer as our number.
Oh shit. And also, thank you, Jimmy, for coming on. It's been a pleasure as always. It's always fun having you on, even when you go Walt Disney on us. It's always a good time.
Yeah, he's still pretty sober.
Oh, he's not Walt Disney at all. He's upright.
I learned my
Switched to beer for live streams because he does whiskey when he's in the audience and it's beer when he's on the stream.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Rhino, we got to give Polska a shout out here. First comment on YouTube. Slaying fours and eating lasagna.
We'll pop that up.
Slaying fours and eating lasagna.
Shit, man.
That's the new chewing bubble gum and kicking ass.
I'm here to
And I'm
slay
all out of
fours,
bubble gum.
eat lasagna, and I'm all out of lasagna.
Exactly. Slaying fours and eating lasagna. Oh, we're gonna make that T-shirt now.
I was gonna say that needs to be a T-shirt.
Oh, Jack-o'-lantern here, 1-800-DONG in mouth. And then finally, Disney, for Mr. Pliskin, Disney equals no square. So there you go.
Well, I mean, think about it. Disney Plus is one of the newest streaming services out there, and they're still hemorrhaging users.
It's awful. Yeah.
HBO Max is doing fine, and now that they're going to have the Discovery Channel lineup on their thing, I mean, I think HBO Max will probably keep doing fine. Now, if only Warner Brothers could pull their head out of their ass and start making good movies again.
Yeah, and not scrap them because they suck so bad.
When you let go of Christopher Nolan, you told us everything we needed to know, Warner Brothers.
Yep.
So, a side note before we leave and whatnot.
Sure.
Warner Brothers made their own like Super Smash Brothers esque video game, so you can play all sorts of their characters in like a Smash Brothers environment or anything. Well, anyways, they have it. It sounds like a good idea.
Yeah,
they had Velma in there as a character. It's what I'm about to say is it's not what you think. Her special attack or anything was she would pull out a wanted poster and say, "Go get them, boy." She would say, "Go get them, boys," and then a cop car would come up, pick you up, and then just jump you off the map. Well, a lot of people got all kinds of butt sad because why do they got to make the police come and arrest you?
So blue lives don't matter, Wayne.
So they're
racism.
It's just a game. Get over it.
Exactly. But the funny thing is, the way they fixed it makes it even worse. Instead of a cop car coming and picking you up, it's the mystery machine. So a very questionable looking panel van comes and picks you up and then drops you off the map.
And a blonde guy with blue eyes comes out, choke holds you with his ascot, drags you in the back. Free ice cream.
Oh shit. On that note, this has been an epic stream. I think it's time for us to head out before things get weird around here.
With that being said, though, Velma in the live action movies, Linda Cardellini. I'm just saying.
There you go. All right, guys. Y'all have a great night. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for sticking around, even though we had a false start with some Streamlabs fuckery. Y'all have a great night. I will see you on Friday for the call-in show. That is no topic, so call in. We just have fun. Sometimes they're scripted, sometimes they're not. This one, not scripted. Just call in. We'll have fun, have a good time. Polska, I'd like to see you there, so be sure to drop by. For the rest of you, again, have a great night and a great Halloween if I don't catch you on the Friday stream. And I will talk to y'all later. I'm going to drop these guys off, and then we're out.